You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you.
Ooh.
Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero, and you're listening to the Tour Coach Podcast. Just like we've been doing for the last couple of years here on the Tour Coach, I'm going to be bringing you lots of chats, interviews, roundtable discussions on what we do, how we do it, from players to coaches to caddies, students. All of this comes from my travels that are on tour or to Old Palm or from here in Mobile or wherever it is I go around this country or around the world, teaching and coaching at the game of golf that I love. So hopefully if you listen, you're going to like what you hear. There's lots and lots of info and content coming your way that I think are going to help all of you understand and play the game even better or coach the game. We've got so many coaches that listen to this Tour Coach podcast. So appreciate all of you that have gone along with me on this journey for the Tour Coach. I didn't necessarily know where I was going with it when I started this when the Dew Sweepers radio show ended on XM Sirius. But I can tell you that it has given me so much freedom and creativity to be able to talk a little more and a little more in depth and bring all of you a behind the scenes, inside the ropes look at what me and my team do and the people that we associate with it and how you can use us as a resource to help you get better at the game of golf. Look, and if you like what you hear on the Tour Coach, also make sure you check out our Pro Work video series, which is available for you on YouTube and my YouTube channel. If you just go on YouTube and type in Pro Work, it'll pull up the episodes that are out there. Some really, really great stuff that takes you behind the scenes and inside the ropes. And before I let you go to the Tour Coach, special thanks to my sponsors that have all been with me for such a long time. Shrixon Golf, been with them over 20 years. Can't find anybody better in the equipment side of the world. Bushnell Golf, such a big part of what we're doing with Pro Work and what I do day to day, especially with the Launch Pro. Vineyard Vines, Ian and Shep, Amber and the folks there always keep me looking great. We've been such great partners for a good long time. And lastly, McConnell Automotive here in Mobile, Alabama. Mitch McConnell and the gang, there's nobody that has supported me longer. I mean, they're unbelievable. And the folks at Buick GMC for supporting the Dew Sweepers radio show, as well as the Tour Coach and as well as Pro Work. So check out McConnell Automotive and Buick GMC. And lastly, my friend Blaine Stokely and Stokely's Midtown Garden Express here in Mobile. Those folks keep the Dew Sweepers and keep the Pro Work and the Tour Coach and all of our content alive and well for all of you that love the game and want to learn. Enjoy the Tour Coach podcast, which is coming your way right now. All right. So it's Golf Camp episode 1 here, 2024 for those that follow along or those that don't. Every January, Jackson Koert, who's sitting here with me at the table, myself, and we get all our guys and now girls playing for a living. We invite them to come down for 3-4 days to Palm Beach Gardens. We've been doing this. Zach, we talked earlier when I thought I was recording this, but the batteries ran out. We're somewhere around 7, 8, 9 years doing this. I know the early year we were in we stayed down in Fort Lauderdale, and I know there was a year that you had to go to the hospital for having like 100 coconuts that you stripped down off the trees of our rental houses. And but that's another podcast. Serious story. You did end up in the hospital. But I always think the interesting thing, and over the years we've had different players from different places in their career. I've always found it fascinating. I think, Jackson, you probably can comment on this too. We've had years where we've had Bill Haas, Lucas Glover was here for a bunch of years. Luke Guthrie joined us a bunch of years. We've had all different players, different places in their career, all working together, and I think it's fascinating. I think it's fun. I think there's a lot to get out of. We do a rental house for a group of us, and we all stay together. And this year we've got a great group. And our first girl player joining us, Erica Shepard, who did a fantastic job today riding in my cart, helping coach me around. But Jackson, let's start with your thoughts. And I thought the topic tonight, sitting here at the table at Golf House, be with Emilio Gonzalez, Zach Zucker, Will McFadden, you and I. Let's just talk about what we hope to get out of this week and kind of where we're going with it. And from your perspective as a teacher, my perspective as a teacher, and from there as a player. And also everybody listening to this, kind of bow your heads a little bit for a second. Jackson's in incredible back pain, and he's highly medicated, so I hope we get him through this. Go ahead, Jackson.
No, it's one of my favorite events of the year. I think I told Emilio that. I was a little bummed I can't tee it up and try to make some birds, but it's obviously fun for me because I get to see some phenomenal golfers, right? And seeing them interact is incredible, and I get to learn a ton watching them, and maybe I help a little bit, I guess. But I think
you help a lot. You do help a lot.
I think the first thing I want to open with is, like, it's really cool at your junior camps to see, like, the new kids that might not have as much experience that you pair with the older kids, and they help them along, right? And, like, you have that same dynamic here where you have veterans that are helping guys that might just be starting their professional career. And it's really cool to see the insight from those guys that have been around a little while, helping people that are in different parts of their career, but also working through different parts of their game or coming off season. And I think that's a invaluable experience to these guys, and also insight for me too, because that's helping me coach other people.
And I think, like, I started when I talked about Lucas and Bill. I thought that the years that they were down here, but it's been fun for me to watch players grow. I mean, Zach's obviously in a position where he's back and he's grinding, working to get status again, but improve his status. But, like, he's a veteran here, and you watch guys look up to him, and you watch guys talk to him about things, and then you watch an interaction today. You watch Andy's obviously had a hell of a year, and I talked to Will and to Larry a little bit about spending time with them because he's really good at getting his way around the golf course. And then you look at a guy like Rick Lamb, who obviously everybody here knows. Zach knows, like, played a couple years out on tour, got dinged last year. I mean, that's a whole podcast in itself, getting hit in the damn head with a ball, missing a year. But, like, obviously a lot of experience. So I think you have these guys that have been around. They've played the PGA Tour. They've played the Korn Ferry Tour. You got guys coming and earning their way through the Korn Ferry Tour. Or you got guys like Will McFadden, who's just out of college. I think it's an interesting group of people and all sharing. And I've always strived for it, and it's happened. I tell people all the time, it's pure happenstance. Like, I was just trying to put together a fun week. Everybody worked together, right? Didn't really expect it to turn out much. But, like, I think that culture of everybody helping together is a cool thing. And I think it carries on through the year because I've gone out on tour events and I've shown up in Palm Springs and I've seen him and Lucas playing 9 together. I've shown up at places I've watched, and you see that community. I think that's a cool thing. So yeah.
I'll never forget last year at Floridian, we were hitting balls and it was into the wind off the left, and McFadden was asking a question about long irons and, like, how he either hits this, like, pull or he hits it short right, and how to not do that in tournament. And I would have loved to throw out an answer, but I was like, why don't we just walk down to the other side of the range where Andy's hitting balls? I'm sure he's going to have a great answer. And Andy went right into, like, something with his lower body, what he feels and how he sees the shot and executes it. And I thought, like, that is just incredible. Mm-hmm. And probably some information that I definitely would have been able to give you. So
you and I are fascinating people, Jackson. And I could talk to you all day, but let's go around. Emilio, let's talk about, this is how many years you've been?
Since I turned pro?
Well, how many golf? Is this your third?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Since I turned pro.
Yeah, third golf camp. Let's talk about what do you hope to get out of this one, and why do you, if you like this week, if you don't like it, I mean, I'd probably rather you not say it, but go ahead and be honest.
My whole deal about this week is just setting a really good plan on the things I want to work on in my entire golf game, from putting all the way to driving, and just not let it go the rest of the year. And every time I see you guys, just kind of get a checkup and make sure I'm not out of whack.
What'd you shoot today at Old Palm?
I played pretty good. Shot 7 under.
Not a bad day.
No, not a bad day to start off the week.
And I said to Jackson early today, I said I felt really good about coming to this because more than most times felt like I'd seen everybody and we'd all seen everybody for the most part. Zach would be the one I've seen the least, but we'd worked a month ago or so. So, like, I felt like everybody's in a pretty good spot. Talk about the things you're working on and what are you trying to improve?
It's been, honestly, ball striking wise, I've been pretty good about staying online with the things I'm working on. It's 3 things. One is related to my setup, one is related to my backswing, and one's related to my through swing and how I get my body moving through. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just like you told me last time we worked together. It's like, not because I'm telling you something different means that we're changing the plan. Like, you're just giving me different medication for what we're working on, and that was pretty good perspective and helped a lot.
Will, so I keep introducing you. At some point, I'm going to have to quit introducing you. This just turned pro out of Troy, but I feel like it helps Troy, right? Absolutely. Like, people know it, and anywho. You came last year, did you not? I did. You were one of the first AMs we let sneak in here. Your second one? What are you looking forward to? What did you get out of last year? What are you hoping to get out of this?
Well, last year was an incredible experience. As a college guy, to get to come hang around with 10 pros and just see the way that they function and do their things every day it was really cool to see as a college guy before I moved on and graduated and got out into the pro ranks. It's been a lot of fun the last few months playing as a pro. It has been about 6 months now, so I feel like we're getting into it. So it's been a good ride so far. But this week I really just want to. We had a good lesson a few weeks ago over in Jacksonville, and and so this week I'm just trying to keep doing what I'm doing over there and keep working on the same stuff in my swing and really just keep building on everything and, most importantly, learn from these guys. Yep. These guys are all great players, and I look up to all of them, and it's good to be around them and really excited to see how the rest of the week goes on.
I think before we hand it over to Zach, I think one of the cool things is the way everybody here, I know it gets old me saying it, but the way everybody looks out for each other, looks up to each other, and helps each other. I mean, I think that's a cool thing. And I'm going to get, before we hand over the microphone, like, Zach has embraced it. He's great at doing that, and he's also been an all-star doing that with our juniors when he's come and hung out. And it's a pretty cool deal to watch you with our kids. We're going to hand Zach the mic so I don't jump over the table.
Yeah, so like you guys said, this is always one of my favorite. Yeah, I'm the veteran. That's right.
You're the longest tenured dew sweeper by far, right?
Yeah, it's got to be since we're pushing 15 years almost, right?
15 years. I mean, longer than any marriage I've had. You're my longest successful relationship. He is. That's because we don't see each other all the time.
That's right. We take little breaks.
I mean, we don't date other people or anything. It's not like it's an open relationship. I don't think so. You're not cheating on me in Birmingham, are you?
Nope.
Okay, just checking.
No, never had another lesson, actually, with anybody else. I don't care what they hear to say. Yeah, so this is always one of my favorite weeks of the year. You get to come here. Most of the golfers have just taken a little bit of a break for, which they don't do much throughout the year, but you take off. Most of December is pretty slow. And so everybody's kind of well-rested, ready to get back to grinding on golf. And I just think hanging out with a bunch of other guys that are great at golf meet a few new guys every year and get working on our game with you. And I think it just gets, you started in the right direction every year.
I'm going to ask Zach a question. So you've been around a while. How old are you now?
37.
37, right? So close. Not close to my age. I don't even know what I'm going there with. But anyways, so you've been out there a while. You've had a bunch of success yourself. When you watch these young guys and you're looking at them, in your head, I know you don't ever say anything, but like, what are the qualities when you see a person and you go, hey, this kid could be really good at the next level? What are the qualities that you look for, like when you see somebody that's here or just in playing on the Corn Ferry or playing on tour or whatever? What are the things where you look at, what are the things that you see, you're like, hey, man, like this kid's got it? What are qualities that you look at that catch your eye?
Usually the first one that always like stands out when I'm wowed by another golfer I'm playing with, or by usually a young kid, like, fresh out of college, is like the fearlessness they play with. They go out, they're trying to hit every single shot, and for the most part, like they pull them off. And I think it's just like they just play so much. I don't know, they understand their own game, that they don't look like they're searching for anything. They're just, playing their own game.
Do you think it gets harder to be that way when you've been out there a while, or if you've played on tour?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that very often from veterans. They tend to play like more conservative. I think a little like smarter. They think they're playing smarter, but I think with the younger golfers, I do tend to see them, going for everything. I think they shoot a lot more low numbers because of it.
That's interesting. I thought that's a great perspective. I think one of the things that we need to do with you is you're a very creative person. Everybody that knows you knows you're crazy creative. Like, get you to be more creative and fearless on the golf course.
Yeah,
and I think
I
when
agree
you
completely.
Because when you go play pro-ams, or we go out on the golf course this week, other than the time that I did beat you with the strokes and we got into a fight and I had to throw my clubs, and I don't want to, it's a bad story. But like, other than the incident, as we call it, in Palm Beach Gardens, like, when you play fearless, you play phenomenal golf. And I think our goal this week as a group ought to be to help you figure out how to play more fearless.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that'd be I think that's pretty cool. So, I mean, Jackson, what do you have to add now?
I would just be curious from
we've got a big plant here in the middle of the table that it's hard to get some around there.
I would just be curious, like, what shots in particular you may struggle with, or you need to sharpen in your toolbox to help you become more fearless on the golf course.
Yeah, it's not something that stands out in my mind immediately thinking I play away from certain shots, but when I think back of all the shots I used to hit when I was younger or fresh out of college, it was again, I can look at it and say it was pretty stupid as well at times, but it was like I almost never laid up on a par 5 if I could get there. There was, if it took a 10 out of 10 3-wood to get there, I was still going to hit the 3-wood. And when it was going great, I would post more low numbers, I think, because of that. But also, I don't think like now that I'm necessarily fearless. I think it's more like calculated, which I don't think is always good, though, because again, you're taking when you're really playing well, I'd rather be more polar on than just shooting a bunch of around par scores. I think
that's great. I think this is really interesting. Yeah, I think, Emilio, what do you need to do? What do you need to do this year to play better than you did? You hit it good.
Yeah.
Right? What did you learn from last year, and what do you need to do better this year?
I think I just got to take more ownership than last year of like the things I'm working on, and like just letting myself be out there, like I just need to get out of the way and own my golf game instead of just trying to do things in a completely different way. Because at the end of the day, I consider myself a pretty creative golfer too. Like, I like to hit shots, and that's how I learned to play the game, first of all. So, yeah, just kind of go back to that.
Willie Mack, obviously, been out 6 months. You watch these guys. Jackson and I talked about it. We saw you earlier. I think that you've made a huge improvements in your golf swing and from a physical fitness side in the last 6 months. It's been huge. How different is being here as a pro different from being here as a college player? And how different is it playing pro versus playing college, regardless of what size school you come from?
I mean, we talked about it before, like the first few college events. I mean, the first few pro events out there, it definitely felt different. And it's the same way, I think, with golf camp, too. Like last year, I was really focusing on listening to everybody, like what they were saying, trying to pick everybody's brain, like really trying to get into all these guys' heads and figure out what they're thinking out there. Whereas it's transformed this year into, I still want to do that, but however, as Emilio says, I want to be better at owning my golf game. So I'm more focusing on myself a little more, I'd say, as a pro at golf camp than really focusing on what everybody else is doing. And I think that's just different in realizing like what you need. Like instead of shopping what everybody else is working on, listening to all that, I think as a pro, it's really been just figuring out what works for me and building off of that.
Jackson?
Any mindset change from what you learned from the boys a year ago here?
As in like,
good catch.
Thanks. As in, what do you mean by mindset change? Like
playing out on the golf course. You were playing college, like Tony said last year, and you picked up how they think and operate on the golf course. Is there anything that stood out to you in that regard?
I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is how people stick to their games. Like, I've seen people like Andy, who predominantly plays a cut, watching him, what he does when the pin's on the left or on the right, watching the way that he plays his shot. And then, I've played with Lucas before, who is a drawer, obviously, and watching him work it, and depending on where the pin is, like, they're not trying to do anything totally different. Like, Zach's the same way, predominant fader. Like, they're not trying to change their shot that they're going to hit into different situations. They're just playing what they know they can play in the safest or most aggressive position, whatever they may think.
Is there an aspect of your game from putting to driver that needs to snowball better this year?
Well, for me, like my whole career, I've always needed to putt it a little better, and I think over the last year and a half or so, it's gotten a lot more consistent. So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing, and I love to chip, so keep working on my short game too is my favorite thing to do.
Zach, what part of your game you need to improve this year?
I feel like last year I made big strides in the ball striking from the previous few years and probably went backwards in putting. So I need to work.
You think that just comes from focusing so much on ball striking? Because I'm curious, because I see folks that like grind their ass off like on their golf swing and ball striking, and then they get hitting it better, but the putting's not great. Like you just, I'm curious.
Yeah, I think it's hard to get to work on everything equally, even if you're putting in the same amount of time. The focus last year was way more on ball striking. Like mentally, I was more tuned in. It was more. I just put a lot more effort mentally, I think, into the ball striking, and so. I felt like I didn't work any less on my putting last year than I have, but that was definitely worse last year than it had been in the previous years.
So a good goal this week, obviously, other than what we talked about, getting back to being fearless, probably would be to just have a good understanding of what you need to do putting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Jackson, you're in charge. Emilio?
Tell them like what you think their strengths are.
I think Zach's strength is his creativity. And I thought the reason I took the question the way I did when he, mentioned playing fearless is I remember him when he was younger. I mean, he was the first time I ever watched you play. You were just out. I think you were just out or still at UAB. You were playing at the Country Club of Mobile. Maybe it was around the time that Bobby shot 57 in the state junior that year. Like, it was somewhere. Anyways, I saw him play holes, and I remember the stories of you hitting these crazy chips and pitches from like off like the balconies and shit to like, right? I'm serious. I'm not kidding when I say that. Like from right, and yeah, or up by where they keep the carts over the bushes to the ninth green. And I'd like to see Zach get back to playing more free golf and just being more relaxed and letting his creativity, because when he does, like his talent's impressive and what he can do with a golf ball.
It's more fun as well.
Yeah, for sure, right? I think Emilio's strength is ball striking, and I think his ability to flight and hit shots, and I think he can hit things he sees. And I think he needs to stay with that. I think he needs to understand his putting and his short game better and take ownership of it himself. And then understand that there's times you don't hit it good, and that's okay. Like, I think you're in a situation, not like, that like where if you don't hit it good because you haven't gotten to where you're comfortable and secure enough putting and all that, then you don't play good. And you need to get to a point where you're confident enough, secure enough around the greens and putting that the days you don't hit good, you still can score good. Yeah. Right? And then Will, I think Will is more like continuing to get better with your body. Your golf swing's great. You can drive the piss out of that son of a bitch when you get it going. And, I think yours is just like, I think there's so many great things when you go to, you go to school and you play all the time, but like now you have the opportunity to learn from people that have been out there long. And I think the more you can understand, because, we give you a lot of shit, but you're a smart guy. And, we love you. You've been around forever. But like, I just think his is more learning what guys that have been through it before. And I've always thought if you can learn one mistake that Zach or Emilio or Rick or Andy made, and you don't have to make it, that saves you probably a month somewhere along the line, right? At least. Right? So that's my summation of where they are.
And the podcast we did in Jacksonville, Wayne talked about professionally from an organizational standpoint how they have to manage their games on and off the golf course. So what about for these guys off the golf course? Where can they get better? Get better? Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a good question. I'd say Zach is the hardest one because he's got a family, right? And so I think Zach does an unbelievable job of having wife, kids, and I tell people this all the time. Him and Wayne Flint, you're not old enough yet, but like they're the two best fathers I've ever seen in my business. Seriously, right? I didn't do as good a job with my daughter. I wasn't around as much. Like, and I have regrets and regret, but like, he's not going to have any regrets, right? So I respect the shit out of that as a person. Right? Like, I think that, like, just learning, I think he's just got to keep getting better at figuring out how to do that and structure the practice time. Because, okay, if I tell this to the world, nobody's going to be shocked that Zach is a little ADD. Right? Like, that's not going across Peter Jennings right now. Is Peter Jennings even alive? Still, I don't even know. Right? Google that, Will. And, but... Siri is Peter. I don't know. I hadn't seen him in a while. But like, I think Zach's challenge is to continue to be what's so important to him, and we figure ways to keep him on track and structure his practice so that he can be hyper focused on the time that he's out there and do it, and then help and keep him understanding what he does. Is he?
died. I mean,
That's gonna sound so bad.
but I'm gonna be honest. I love Peter Jennings. I absolutely loved him. I loved him, Dan Rather. What was the? Oh, Tom Brokaw. I mean, those guys. I wish we'd go back to that. And this shit we got on TV now is terrible. And George Stephanopoulos, fuck, nobody's listening to him. All right, so who you want me to tackle next?
Will.
What does Will got to get better at? I mean,
I think it's the body stuff.
yeah, I think Will's just got to get better, continue to get better physically. And I think that's one thing that shows you it's missing in college is the ability to get high-level athletes with people that are, God, you hear that cry? But get high-level athletes. Because I think the talent now across college golf, and I'm sure it's this way in every sport, you know, but the talent's so deep. I mean, there's kids playing at Division 1 to 3 that are crazy talented. But if you're not at the very, very top, I think it's hard to get kids with really, really good physical programs. Mm-hmm. And I think he needs, and now he's got it with Aaron. You're doing an unbelievable job with Aaron. I know Colby helps with all that. Like, I just think he's just got to keep getting better physically, and I think he's got to keep – I think his understanding of his golf swing's improved a ton. And like he talked about his putting, he's got to – none of us here could ever get too good at putting. So I think he's got to keep getting better at putting and getting better physically. Emilio?
Chai.
I think he's doing a good job. I mean, I think physically you've done better this year, towards the end of the year. I mean, I think what you hit on is taking ownership, right? And it's not fun when you don't play good. It's not fun when you don't do well. But I think you're always closer to playing good than you think. And I think, like all people, like just what you said, just taking ownership, admitting that, like, hey, sometimes it doesn't work out or whatever, but you got great people around you that care about you, and you're going to get there. And I think that's it. I mean, I don't think it's – I would say, and actually just a whole golf camp in general, I feel good about where everybody is, which is unusual. Probably means we'll have just a shit year, because anytime I feel great about everything, it's true. It's like I thought 100% Alabama was going to cover the spread against Michigan. I was so sure about it. I mean, it bombed, right? McFadden, Alabama fan who took Michigan on the money line. You can DM him direct if you want to bitch at him, but that's fine. But but I feel really good about the guys at this table. I feel like Zach's going to play really, really good in something coming up soon, in a Monday or whatever, or when he gets his opportunity. I think Emilio's going to do great. I think so if we go back to McFadden a little bit, I think McFadden he's been doing a nice job playing mini tour stuff along the Emerald Coast. I mean, and that's awesome. But I think it's time now that he's been around these guys to up the level of competition and play some bigger, harder stuff. And so now why don't we got another few minutes, why don't we turn this question back around? Let's ask Zach, what do you think from what you've known these guys they need to do?
Yeah, I haven't I can't speak too much on Emilio, seeing every time I play with him he plays lights out, and from the few rounds I've played, I think you are one of the best putters on the planet. So I don't Jingle Bell that we won, I don't think you missed a putt inside of 12 feet any day. And McFadden, from what I've seen, and he's consistently gotten better every year for a while, and so that's been pretty cool to watch. I think they're doing the right stuff.
Good. Jackson, what do you think everybody needs to get better at?
So I think, like, you boil it down to one word. For Zach is fearless, right? I think for Emilio it's like comfortable or settled, right, in his own skin out there. McFadden, I like 1%, just like continuing to get 1% better. So I think my last question, new year, right? And what can we do, or since it's your podcast, what can you do to continue to get better to help these guys this year?
I mean, I think they'd be the ones to answer that question, right? More than anybody. I think we try to get better. I try to get better every year. I try to learn stuff. this past year I've tried being down here. I've tried to be in a place and a situation where people have more access to you. In the end, though, it's made it harder to see Zach. I would say that because I hadn't. But also, one of the big things got hard to see you when your folks moved from Mobile, and you didn't come to Mobile. That was kind of how we used to work all the time, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But I've really tried to expand my understanding of the body, and how everybody's different, how your body moves different, how injuries affect things, travel, all that stuff. A lot of the stuff doing with Colby, well, that was a big reason of moving down there and having the opportunity was to be part of that. And then just still a lot of the stuff that do with Greg, just kind of understanding how people think and process. I've tried to gain a bigger understanding of how people learn better. I think that's been, I don't think anything about what I teach. I mean, still square faces and getting you on plane and turning and shit like that isn't very fun. But but understanding how to help teach y'all better, I think has been what I've focused on, And I would say this as I digress, but like this year I'm trying to chase people less, be in a place we can work productively, and when we're together do a really, really good job. Instead of trying to find 10, 20 minutes here or there on the road, hoping to catch somebody, but not getting anything done. I think we're way better when we have a plan and we all get together. And now we're in a good place. I mean, hell, Zach, you just soon come down here and hang out for 2 days and work do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? So what do you think, Jackson? What are you going to do better? Other than get your back better, so we don't have you doped up during these podcasts.
Get better physically. No, and continue to learn, right? Like, I think if you can identify your weaknesses, like we're trying to help these guys, I think maybe my weakness is still, like, trying to learn everything and then still teach in my own way and staying authentic to that. So continuing to learn, but not let me go down rabbit holes where it influences my teaching on a day-to-day basis. And I think that would be the big thing. And also being patient is big, because I always want to get to the next level or improve this, and I want it really bad, and I don't think that helps my attention and the focus on the day-to-day small details, because then when that stuff starts to go awry, then I don't perform as good day in and day out, and that's just not fair.
That's great.
To any lesson.
I think that's just part of learning who you are, and I think we all got to get better. But guys, this has been awesome. Great kickoff. We had an unbelievable day at Old Palm today, hosted by Matt Cuddy, Matt Lashinger, and then a cool dinner at Prezzo with everybody. It was very nice. So tomorrow we're up at Hobe Sound Golf Course. We're going to work a little Old Palm, and then Erica Shepard. We got to get her on the podcast this week. New
episode 2.
E coming in hot. Going to join the podcast, but we're going to play out there with her. So we got a great group, and Emilio won the scratch off. We're giving away first place is a $20 scratch off every day, $10 for second, and Emilio won $50. So I think that's fantastic. And at the end of the week, we're gonna let Jackson broadcast the sheet too. So let everybody know how they come out money wise. But appreciate everybody listening in, and stay tuned. We'll have more good stuff coming from Golf Camp. I hope you enjoyed this edition of The Tour Coach and this conversation that we brought to you about playing, learning, and teaching the game of golf. We'll be back next week with another edition of The Tour Coach. In between now and next week, make sure you follow us on our social channels. You can always find me at The Dew Sweeper on Instagram, or go to our YouTube page where you'll see a scene and a video from my teachings daily on our YouTube channel. You can find that by looking up Tony Ruggiero and the Dew Sweepers on YouTube. Until then, make sure you follow and check out everything Tour Coach and all our sponsors: Srixon Cleveland Golf, Bushnell, Vineyard Vines, and Buick GMC. I'll be back next week to help all of us appreciate, learn, and enjoy the game of golf. Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero. And look, recently, several teachers I know and several players have had some scares with skin cancer. fact, I recently went and saw a dermatologist here in town, and I had a couple things frozen off, eyelid, my face, my earlobe, and not getting any younger. And I know it's getting to that time of the season where it's cooler, but look, being in the sun is a real deal, and I've not been very good, to be totally honest, my whole career at using it at all, because I didn't like how greasy it was, how hard it was to get off your hands, how it clogged up my pores. And then I found this sunscreen, Visor Skincare. It's clear, it goes on, it doesn't dry you out, it isn't greasy, it's like you didn't put anything on it. By far, it's the best sunscreen I've ever used. Without a doubt, is the easiest to use. And we've got a discount code for all of you. All you have to do is go to visorskincare.com, use our code word DewSweeper. visorskincare.com, code word DewSweeper.